All right, so moving on from discussing Death on the Nile, I'm going to discuss Book of Boba Fett. That book is finally closed. We're done. Um, we
It's
can
over.
we can put the bookmark out of the book, return it to the library. You know what I mean? We're finished. You know, when we have to keep reading it in Borders, you know, drinking our coffee, it's done. It's over. Which I remember that I remember people used to do that all the time. I used to walk in Borders, and then they always used to be. They made a mistake by putting a Starbucks in Borders. That's what
They did.
that's what they fucked up at. They should have never did that because as soon
Plus,
as they
that kept them alive.
yeah, I mean, it kind of kept them alive, but also killed them because people just sat there reading the whole book in one sitting, drinking the coffee, and yeah, that kind of fucked them up. Yeah, they never should have did that.
They should have. If you read half the book, you have to buy it.
Yeah, there should have been somebody enforcing that policy. Yeah, you read half the book, you got to buy it. Yeah, there should have been somebody enforcing that. And there would be people who be treating it like a library. Like if you talk in there, the people go, "Shh, be quiet." It's like this is not a library. Like this is just a bookstore. You know what I mean? If you don't like
Yeah.
go to a library, but yeah.
This Orders is still kicking though.
Are there a lot still around? Are there?
There's a few. There's a few borders. Like they're a lot less reduced, but yeah, they're still around.
Oh,
You can
okay.
still walk into your borders and
Yeah.
just. But they've combined with like Amazon to survive.
Mm. Okay.
They've made like a demonic partnership so that
Ah.
they can stay alive.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I think there's a couple that I know that are still around. Like one, you know, not it's not that far
Yeah.
away from me. Yeah, there's still a couple kind of close by me.
Yeah.
Still kind of around. So here with the final kind of chapter here, you have everything culminating to the end. You have the big kind of all-out gang war that's kind of going on between Boba Fett and between all these different mobs that are kind of coming after him. Finally, the kind of the
Hmm.
war gets started here. Um, it does have a lot of big payoffs that we kind of already assumed was going to happen, but still was cool kind of seeing like Boba Fett riding the Rancor. That was
Hmm.
awesome. That was really cool. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm like, he better ride the Rancor, and he did. And I did enjoy it. That was kind of something there. It didn't kind of make any sense. All of a sudden, the Rancor, it felt like you were playing a video game and
Yeah.
then something happens, you know, like with the boss, and then like the boss kind of runs away and then it's like, and then never comes back. It's like, that kind of what I kind of felt like because the Rancor just all of a sudden just ran away.
Yeah.
So now it's just between purely him and Cad Bane, a standoff. I'm like, okay, that seemed like it was purely
Yeah.
just set up for that, but
Yeah.
it was still, you know, Boba Fett versus Cad Bane, which a lot of that backstory really relies on you. I think seeing a lot of stuff from Clone
Yeah.
Wars. Um,
So there's like a famously shown off like uh they haven't fully rendered it, but it's a bare bones register of what one of the season 7 episodes that got cut was going to be about. It was going to finishing Boba Fett's arc from the Clone Wars, how he got the Mandalorian armor initially, how it was made for him, and then having to deal with Cad Bane because Cad Bane had a rivalry with his father Jango, and they were although Boba Fett is kind of a villain. He is this darker character. He is like not a nice person. But compared to Cad Bane, he at least has somewhat honor. He does have somewhat these small little moments where yeah, he's done some horrible shit, but Cad Bane just has no whatever. They're the opposite ends of being what it means to be a bounty hunter. And in this one episode, it's going to be a duel between the two of them,
mhm.
and it was going to be like kind of like an ending of the rivalry somewhat, and it ends with them both firing and they both get shot in the head, and so that whole part in Boba Fett's armor that's just permanently there was going to be from Cad Bane, and whether Cad Bane survived or that or not from that, uh, at least Boba walks away from that, and that kind of is the start of his like more infamous time. He's no longer kind of a teen. He more becomes a bit more ruthless or a bit more focused after that, a bit more stone colder after that. So this kind of being like, oh, if you want to do like a change in kind of character or make his change, finish up his arc, Cad Bane would be a great character to kind of finish it off. kind of a more Obi-Wan to Vader, where last time we met I was, but this time was like we didn't really learn from each other, but you were like like you were like the best of the best, and I kind of sort of beat you, and then but I'm not. He's like, I've gotten older. I'm not as fat. It's like I'm not as fast as I used to be. You're
Freudian slip
faster
there,
now.
and not as fat. And he kind
Not
of
as fat. It's
yeah,
true. Not
yeah,
as fat as I am.
yeah.
But yeah, he's not as fast as Cad Bane is, and Cad Bane proves it. And
Hmm.
then yeah, but no, they didn't really do that. And it does rely on you knowing anything somewhat Clone Wars, even to have an inkling of an idea of why this would even matter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So a lot of it is based upon a relationship that you kind of already have to know already, because they talk like they've known each other for years. But I think if you were just to watch this series and never seen Clone Wars and never seen anything else, you wouldn't really go like, "What the hell are they talking about?"
Yeah,
And I didn't think the so Timothy Olyphant, his character's dead. I didn't think that. I just thought maybe he got maybe shot.
he's not.
You don't think he's dead?
No, I mean they showed a credit scene, the final extra credits. He's in the Bantha bath,
Oh, he's in.
being
Oh,
saved, and producer Thundercat with his techno arms is gonna save his life, and then the end credits.
oh, okay, okay, okay. I didn't. I missed that. Oh,
Yeah, they
okay.
said, "Oh man, he got gunned down," but no, he's in the tank at
Oh,
the
okay.
very end. They show that
Okay, there's like a stinger at the end. Oh, I
it's
should
like
have.
a stinger at the end. Yeah,
Oh, okay. I should have guessed there was a stinger at the end. I should have. I should have figured that. Um. So yeah. So I thought that kind of standoff between them, I thought was fine. I thought was kind of. I thought that was kind of cool. And then Mando coming back again. Seems like it just Mando. The last three episodes, Mando just took over the whole thing. He just said
oh yeah,
he just came in, jacked Boba Fett's whole goddamn show, and just said like, okay, well, I'm just gonna do my thing now and set myself up for season three of my show, and then you can have what's left.
you know
Because
what's set? Yeah, basically.
yeah.
Uh,
What were you
and
about to say?
no, I think it's a big detriment to Mandalorian season 3 though, because now you have to watch another season just to get a lot of these quick resolutions that could have easily been better done in the third season. But that's just, I mean, that's just a bigger feelings I have over the whole thing. I'm gonna let you go for it, and then I'll talk about it overall.
Yeah, so I think with this, like I said, Mandalorian kind of came in because the best episodes of this show were the last three episodes, and they had little to no Boba Fett in it,
Hmm.
mostly, or they were surrounded by just a bunch of other characters. So when it was just mainly kind of Boba Fett, his whole backstory and everything like that for the first three episodes, it really wasn't that interesting and it really wasn't going anywhere. And then it's up until episode four where they do just purely just a or was it episode five? Episode five, I think, where they do just the purely just the Mando episode.
It's the 5 and 6 are mostly Mando.
Yeah. And they do mostly that. And it's like, oh well, yeah. I mean, clearly, I mean, this is kind of what the Boba Fett show should have maybe been, or if you had a maybe a if you want to do a prequel there of a younger Boba Fett, seeing him, when he was in his days when like the Empire, well, like during that time of Empire Strikes Back,
Yeah.
or between in that period. But we've already kind of got that already with the Mando character, with Din Djarin. So it's like, well, what
Mm.
are we doing here? And I felt like,
I mean, you could have done a seedier underbelly version with Boba, and I would have liked to have seen that, like much more being a morally gray kind of character, bordering on villain, lawful evil kind of character would have been a really interesting take for Star Wars, at least in that form. And seeing him act more as like getting jobs done no matter what, following his code, but not following let's be honest, Ginger Ends his the way the Mandalorian way is a very idealized version of what the Mandalorians are. It's a very specifically the righteous path and good, and Boba Fett's just like whatever doesn't get you killed,
yeah.
whatever doesn't get you killed.
I mean, Din Djarin, he very much believes in the Mandalorian religion. He is a
Yep.
follower, and then even Boba Fett's like, you actually believe that shit, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you actually follow. He's like, I mean, yeah, I mean, I do. I mean,
But it does. That is a nice moment where he does say, like, really, I think it's like, I do, and he goes, like, good for you. Kind of like a, all right, good for you. Like, at least you believe in something.
yeah, you know what I mean. He has a code. He believes in something. You know, it's his guiding, kind of light in his path that he's able to. That's what his thing is. It's like, okay, I mean, if it works
Yeah.
for him, it
And,
works for him.
and Boba got a little respect for him for that. He's like, well, you believe in something, kid. That's what matters.
Yeah, and I think they work really well together. Boba Fett
They do.
and Tamir Morrison, I think, is best when he's working. You know what I mean? Maybe with
With another
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian.
I think that's when he's best. I think when it's the two of them, I think it's like it's really good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
The few moments in this episode when it's just the Jin and Boba just talking back and forth, it's the show I kind of wanted, where it's the younger, kind of naive, but more like heart of gold character who's this kind of more stoic, not talking as much, dealing with this character who is much more experienced, tired, much more of a scoundrel slash bounty hunter who has to kind of like rein him in, or they give good back and forth, different philosophy back and forth. But at the end of the day, they're all on the same goal and they work together. Like, I would have loved to seen a series where they're partners in crime and just seeing how both of them get that situation taken care of.
or you just see that like there's like they know each other because they go after the same jobs. They're bounty
Yeah,
hunters. They're in the network of other,
exactly.
like the scene you saw in Empire where you had all these other bounty hunters
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
And then it's like a whole network of other people that they all kind of very vaguely know each other because they've like,
I
oh yeah, we
yeah,
all operate in the same circles.
honestly, that's what I was hoping this was going to be. Book of Boba Fett is either a prequel that deals with him kind of like they started in Clone Wars, kind of digging into the underbelly and this network of bounty hunters and seeing him grow into the legend he eventually became. Like when someone says Boba Fett, he's an infamous character. Next to Cad Bane, if someone mentions Cad Bane, they're like, "Oh shit, I'm just gonna drop the job because he's gonna take care of it." Or what they did here, but it should have been like after the whole Sarlacc pit thing. It should have been, well, what happened to him afterwards? How did he deal with that? How did he lose his armor, and then he got other stuff before while he was searching for it, and then whatever. But again, he's just stuck in one place. Fine, not. He even says at one point, like, "I'm not cut out for this." Like, well, why did you do this?
Yeah. Oh, hey, thank you, Kristen. Thank you coming in with the alert. Hey, much appreciated. Yeah, the like during the final moments of the episode, he's like, yeah, maybe I'm not cut out to do this, and it's like, so is this show not going to get a season two? It was only supposed to be like a mini series. It
Yeah.
was only supposed to have one season. If that was the case, then what the fuck? Like, you just
Well,
did
yeah,
three Mando episodes in this one season of Boba Fett. Like, what the hell? Um,
yeah,
yeah. Seems like just a big waste of time, honestly.
yeah.
But
What was the point of this?
yeah. But that moment, yeah, when they're back and forth, Mando and Boba Fett is a great moment. When they're talking, and when they bust out the door like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid,
Exactly.
that was an awesome moment. There's a lot of like, okay, that was a great moment. That was an awesome moment. And Robert Rodriguez
Mm,
directed this episode, and he did what he does best: action. He
mm,
knows how to direct some cool action sometimes. And when they're busting out and they shoot people and they got the Baskin armor on, Baskin armor, and they're kind of doing that. Even though, I mean, listen, I get that the armor is impenetrable, but there's still a
yeah,
person underneath the
yeah.
armor.
Hmm.
And Din Djarin's getting tossed around. He's getting shot up. He's getting thrown through buildings. I'm like, that he should be meatloaf. Inside that armor, he should just be
Yeah.
pure,
Oh
just
yeah.
ground beef. I mean,
Oh
like,
yeah.
ain't no way. Just because you got that armor on, dude. I mean, like, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, ain't no way one person
Hey,
surviving all that.
at least they wore armor. Kesserin didn't wear squat, and he somehow hit. I guess Wookiee fur is just bulletproof.
Yeah, I mean, because
Brr.
sometimes he get hit, but then sometimes it'll like they would make sure to aim at the one spots where he didn't have armor, so it'd bounce off. That little shoulder pad he has, and the what do you call that? There's a word for it, like when you have like the sack with all the
The
weapons.
shin.
Huh?
Oh, you mean the gun belt?
Yeah, what? There's like a word for it. Starts with like a B.
Oh, baluster.
Ballister. Okay.
The baluster, the ballista.
Yeah. So they make sure to hit him like right there where they can bounce it off, and it's like you
Sorry, bandolier.
bandolier.
Bandoliers.
Yeah, that's it. Bandolier. That's what it was. That's it. And then also you don't even see how he survived all those dudes jumping on him, all those people. I'm like getting ambushed. It's like you don't even see how he survived that. He just shows back up because it's like it just feels like, well, hey, he's a big EU character. We can't, we don't want to kill him off. And I think his appearance was kind of weak, honestly. Like I
Yeah.
don't think he lived up to what people talked
No.
about him in the EU. I mean, what do you kind of think about that?
Um. Aside from that going down in a blaze of gory moment, that was probably the best part of this episode. Everything else was kind of a hot mess. Characters were not really utilized properly. We're leading up to this final moment, and I'm still wondering what was the point of this. And if you're just going to do a Mando season 3, then just do a Mando season 3. Because the way a lot of these are resolved, like immediately after they became things, like this would have been more meaningful if it was season 3 of The Mandalorian. We've had more time, a little bit more, and then, oh man, Grobu's back. Oh man, I didn't know Grobu was going to be back.
Grogu,
That's awesome,
Grogu,
Grobu.
yeah.
And then
Grogu.
Grover just shows up. The Mandalorian has the best reaction of all time. Like, hey, look who came back, and he's just like what? He's just like a what? Like what? What are you doing here?
Yeah, it's all the characters. Even Amy Sedaris' character, she comes back and she helps and does. Baby Yoda. He, like we people said, like he's probably gonna. I think Nick. He
He
predicted
did.
he
He
predicted he
did.
picked the lightsaber. Yeah.
No, Nick predicted that he would not
Oh,
pick
that
the
he.
lightsaber
Oh, that he wouldn't pick the. Okay.
because because obviously that little bubble on the ship is not going to be used for anything in sarcasm. So I'm going to give Nick that because he's like, yeah, and then I'm like, yeah, you're right. They're going to choose that. I
Yeah.
would have hoped that he stayed with and learn Jedi stuff, but like Grogu was like, nah, I don't really care about being a Jedi. And you're like, okay.
Well,
So
also when Luke said that, like, well, you do live a very very long time, so he could just still come back and just
easily,
learn.
yeah,
Because like he's
yeah,
still a baby right now, and he's over what 100 something years old, and he's still a baby.
hmm
So he
yeah,
could still wait 100 more years and then still come back and then learn to be a Jedi. Like it's
right.
not.
But Luke's dead.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I
Luke
mean,
doesn't live as long as he does.
yeah.
I
So
think the purpose was like, I want to make another Yoda so they can live like 800 years, and you can teach what I'm teaching you.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's good, but I mean, he could still. I mean, yeah. I mean, can't they just come back as Force ghosts or something and teach? They can't just do that.
I mean, sure, why not?
I
Who
mean,
cares?
it's like he just. I mean, I guess I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't know the rules.
Look, the whole even even Mark Hamill has argued about the whole like attachment things. He's like, oh, attachment is a weakness, and then even he like joked apparently watching that episode where he's like, I mean, my attachment led to me saving my father, helping take down the Empire, and
Yeah,
restoring the balance of the Jedi. So, and he just kind of shrugs. So he's
yeah,
like, like even
yeah,
he's just like, yeah, no, that was stupid. Like,
yeah. And that's from George Lucas. I mean, that's what he said. So that's from George Lucas. So
yeah, nah.
that's what he did in the prequels. So people who want to get mad at this sequel trilogy and what Disney doing with Star Wars, hey, that's what George Lucas did. That's what he said. That's what the Jedi is. So
The Jedi were at one point this, and then they stopped doing that because Luke was like, "That's stupid. Let's not do that."
so yeah, so Baby Yoda, which when he showed up in the little seat, that did look adorable. Okay, that was adorable. Okay, when they flew and they did the thing. Okay, when he hit the hyperspace button or the speeder button on the starfighter, that did look really good. Okay, that was cute. Okay, again, it makes you excited for season 3
Mm.
of Mandalorian. So if that was the main purpose of this Book of Boba Fett was like just to get you excited about season 3 of Mandalorian, then hey,
I
you
mean,
passed on that. You did pass on
sure,
that. But
you can skip a whole lot of episodes for that.
yeah, you could just go straight to episode 5 and don't even worry about the other episodes. Just go straight to
Yeah,
that
it don't matter.
and just have you be prepared for season 3.
Yeah,
So you know, and then you also have the Scooby Doo gang that comes back here that also helps. Me and Nick, we just reviewed a show called Yellow Jackets, which stars
Hmm.
Sophie Thatcher. She's in this show as one of
Hmm.
the people here. She's one of the main people who has dialogue.
Hmm.
Her, and I don't know why they gave her a British accent in this, or why she has one, or I don't know if that was they told her to do one, or that was a personal choice
Hmm.
she did because she's not British. She's from Chicago, so she's not British. Um, I don't know what
Star Wars, why not?
I don't know what I don't know. Hey, why don't you just show up with a nice, you know, she don't be afraid where you come from. Show up with the Chicago accent, the Bears, and and all
Burr.
that, and Chicago. Come on with the, you got Bill Burr in space. He's doing his accent. He's got his Boston accent.
He
Hey,
does all over the place.
yeah, freaking wise ass, like throw in the Chicago accent, throw in the person from New York, throw in their accent. Why not? Fuck it. Bill Burr showing up, he doesn't even attempt to do any other accent. He's like, listen, I'm Bill Burr. I'm just gonna do me. I'm just gonna do exactly what I do. I'm gonna give my accent, and then but
You're
she's
lucky I'm even showing up.
yeah, you know what I mean. So I don't know why they gave her a British accent. Don't know why, but whatever. It wasn't. I don't think it was that good. And
Yeah.
she's an amazing actress. Like I mean, I don't know if you've seen Yellow Jackets. That show's really
I
good.
have not.
That show, you guys check it out, man.
Okay, all right.
I'm obsessed with the show. I'm
That's
really
great.
yeah. So I highly recommend checking it out. But yeah, I don't think it was that good. And then you had the other guy who I don't even know his name, but he was the black guy. He's the one with the cyborg eye, or he got the Google glasses on or some
Oh
shit.
yeah.
Yeah. He's the other person who has dialogue, and then people were talking about that spin move he does.
Oh yeah, the spin move,
Yeah,
yeah.
motherfucker got the style, got that flair. You gotta have throw a spin move in there. You know what I mean? Like he, that's
Yeah.
like, and a lot of people talking about that. It's like, well, this isn't Star Wars. I'm like, this is corny. I'm like, well, yeah, Star Wars has always been corny. That's kind of what Star Wars
Yeah,
is.
but even that was just like what is this?
You know,
Uh
that felt
I
like
don't know, man.
definitely something Robert Rodriguez like you would see in like Desperado
Yeah,
or El Mariachi.
absolutely.
That would definitely be something you'd see in something like that, or like Machete or something like that. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? You would see somebody do some shit
absolutely.
like that. That's kind of, yeah, that is kind of like Robert Rodriguez's thing, his style. You know what I mean? Did that moment kind of take you out or what?
I mean, he was carrying a Wookiee, and then he just, instead of turning around, he does a spin, and then kneels down and shoots it, and then the Wookiee's like, oh, with them all three at once. Yeah, kind of a little bit, and then the Wookiee just walks as if he, and then the Wookiee walks as if he didn't need any help at all.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I'm supposed to be carried. That's right. Oh.
yeah. I got
He's
that's a
just like, God. No, this season finale just proved to me why, like, what was the point of this? It also proves that they really wanted to make a show for Fennec because she's the only character that does things really in this. Who gets revenge on? Oh man, they killed the Tusken Raiders. Oh no, it was really actually the Pikes. You dummy! How did you not notice that was really them? Okay, he's like, oh, Fett's totally gonna take them out. Nope, Fennec takes care of all of them.
yeah, kills the whole room full of them quickly,
Yep,
easy, quietly. Yeah.
and then she just walks out like a badass, and that's it. And then I'm like, what? Like she just does everything, doesn't she? She just does everything. They just make her the main character. Don't call her Boba Fett.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing a Ming Na Wen show with her, and
Sure.
then
I would
teaching.
have better expectations if it was a character who is cunning. She's cunning and clever and smart and actually makes the smart decisions. And then Boba Fett's just there to just make all the wrong choices so that she can correct him. Things he should already know because he's one of the most infamous bounty hunters in Star Wars, and they treat him like a 5-year-old.
Yeah. And I guess you could say like, well, he's never been in charge before. It's a totally different type
That's
of thing.
bullshit.
Never, you know what I mean? Never been a crime lord before. So
Pardon my language, but the kid's been leading squadrons of bounty hunters since he was like 13.
okay.
Like he has run gangs since he's like actual adult bounty hunter since he was like 13, 14, and held up with them. The kid has had training since he's been a clone. He's trained with Trandoshans. He's done a bunch of crazy crap his entire life to make it this far. Yeah, okay. He's never really needed to like run an entire daimyo, but he knows tactics. He knows strategy, and he knows he can hire people with money. He's like, I have a bunch of credits. I can just do it if I really wanted to. And she has to be the one to remind him, like, there are people you can hire people. Yeah, no shit. You think?
I don't know. Maybe he's on a
Oh
budget. Maybe
man,
he's like,
I
I gotta
used to
think.
be a bounty hunter.
Maybe he's thinking about, hey, but that's so expensive. I'm on a budget.
He literally said money was not like what money was not a problem. He could just go. He knows people he can get for cheap. He's made connections. The guy's made connections throughout his entire life. Why is this show even? Why is this show existing? What was the purpose? If this was for Mandalorian season 3, fine. And then the duel they're supposed to have, because really, Cad Bane, who clever, ruthless man as he is, would see that his forces have somehow lost against these idiots who keep firing on shielded droideka, giant droidekas, who I don't know much about Star Wars, but I know about this. If you got a giant shield, that's going to take out platoons of people.
Yeah.
So if they've been dealing with that kind of shield technology, bounty hunters should probably know. Oh, I'm probably gonna have to get at it really slow. I'm gonna have to roll grenades underneath it so it doesn't recognize it in the shields, so it doesn't bounce off, and then take it down like that. Or, I mean, Rancor, sure. Or perhaps, I know most people forgot about that. He has Slave One. Just
Yeah.
fly to the ship, get Slave One, and its artillery power will destroy those things. It can just do a dive and swatch, and they're never gonna hit it.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people mention that too. It's like, why didn't he just get his ship? Yeah.
Get a
Uh,
ship.
yeah. And then with the droids with the shields, it's like
Hmm.
there's moments where characters are pinned down, and then they're just firing at the same concrete. I'm like, so is nobody gonna flank these people? Is nobody gonna like come
No,
over the top? Is like the droids? Are they
no.
not just gonna fire like above them so the
Yeah,
debris will land on top of
right.
them? Like, I mean, come on. I mean, you just firing at the same spot that these people are
Yeah.
in, and it's like, what the
Hey,
hell?
let me get a sniper rifle and go for a top angle. To do what? The thing has shields. What, to pick up out people around you while it blows you to smithereens? Like, what's the tactic here? Or, hey, I'm gonna go at the very beginning. I'm gonna go back to the Jabba's palace because it has fortifications, and we can hold off for reinforcements. And they're like, no, if you go, we're not gonna join you. I'm like, all right, you can die on your own then, because like
Yeah.
let's stay in the remains of exploded, heavily damaged area. Who, by the way, surprisingly doesn't have a lot of bodies in there, despite the explosion. There should be bodies all around, but they didn't. There's no bodies there, so it's surprisingly clean
No.
area. And go, we're gonna make a stand on this not very well defensible position because now we only have one in, one out. Versus Jabba's palace, where I have my ship, where I have this, and I have terrain, and I have the high ground. They
Yeah.
have to come to me on our terms. And then she just makes a suggestion, like, we're gonna do this, and he goes, why? Well, cause reasons. We'll stay. And you're like, Boba, what are you thinking? What do you do? You know what? You're not Boba Fett. We're gonna call you not Boba, because you're clearly not the same character. It's like the same thing with Last Jedi. He's not Luke Skywalker. He's Jake Skywalker. He's not the same character, and they're just gonna treat him differently. If they're gonna do that, we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna have a final duel with Cad Bane, who's gonna show up, even though all his troops are destroyed. He's like, "All right, I want to have a final duel with you." Cad Bane would have taken off. He already got his money. Why does he care?
Right.
If
Yeah.
if Boba caught him leaving, like the reason he didn't like, oh, I got the Rancor, and then hey, tells the Rancor, hey, cool, we've ripped the droids. I'm gonna stop, and he just starts flying off, and he initially goes after the Pike, and then while the Pikes are trying to escape, to hold up somewhere, Fennec and him meet up, and then she sees this, and she's gonna interfere, and he goes, no, we need to end this once and for all, and she's like, go take care of them. Like, go take out Pikes, and then he like just kind of whispers to her and make it hurt, and he's like, make it hurt for like whatever, and she's like, good luck, and then she goes on. That would actually be like a man with no name situation, and it'd be like, oh man, we're gonna have a final duel with between Cad Bane and Boba Fett. Everything's gone, and he's cornered him. It doesn't feel like, hey, I just showed up. He was leaving. He just got cornered. and Boba's not going to let him through until he's dead. Then that feels like much more of a bigger moment. Also, the whole because Pike just gets killed randomly, it and they just reveal that as them they were killed by biker gang. What was the whole point of him being saved by Tusken Raiders, which wasn't in the EU, and they just made it up for the series? What was the point? Because he got a stick that he could hit Cad Bane with.
I guess so. I guess so. He can learn that special move to fight him at the end. I guess.
Yes, the super move that he only used once prior. And we're gonna pull that out of your hat to not kill Cad Bane because he's probably not dead.
You don't think he's dead?
Nah, probably not. They're not gonna kill off Cad Bane that way.
I don't. Yeah. I
Cad Bane's
mean,
been shot. He's been shot in the head or almost killed. Cad Bane has been stabbed, and when he's stabbed, as they zoomed in onto him, you can hear beeping sounds. No, he's probably not dead.
yeah. I guess so. I mean, I guess you wouldn't get rid of a character that popular, and then you have all this history with the character.
I mean, if it was what we were doing and this was a build up and this was like maybe season 2 of Boba Fett and he had already had adventures with bounty hunters and this was like a final big moment for his character and he's had trying to help the Mandalorians and there's all this stuff and this was a completely different context. Okay, and there's like one final showdown of like let's see who's top dog, then I would believe that. That would be a genuinely good moment to end his or at least be a finite moment for his character. But not in this. And if they do, what a waste. What a waste of a badass character.
Yeah, maybe I agree with you. I don't think. Yeah, maybe he's not dead because, I mean, that is Dave Filoni's, and kind of character that he really helped build in
Yeah.
Clone Wars and all these other
Along
different
with
shit.
Ahsoka Tano. They're
Yeah.
both characters he helped create.
So probably not gonna probably get rid of him that easily, maybe. But I don't know. So with the finale, there were a lot of, I think, to me, awesome moments and cheer-worthy
Mm-hmm.
moments. Like I said, the moments where you did have him ride the Rancor. The moments where
Mm-hmm.
where you do see Mandalorian and Baby Yoda reconnect, and that was a very sweet moment. And they do
Mm-hmm.
that. The moment where Boba Fett and Mando they team up, that was a great moment. It's the most badass Boba Fett has looked all series where he comes
The
out
entire series.
shooting and he fires one rocket from like his
Yeah.
kneecap and
Yeah.
doing all this other stuff, and it's like again that
Two of them.
yeah, two of them, and that was kind of the most badass yeah he ever looked. Yeah, and then you see him helping Mando a little bit where he's getting shot down and everything, and it's like that was the best he's looked all series. I mean, that's kind of what we wanted to see from him and throughout the whole
Yeah.
series.
Day one.
But you just didn't really get much of that. There's a lot of like, why did you come up with that? Like you mentioned the stuff with the droids, and you have these heavily armored with the shields. It's like, why not just get the ship? Why not go back to Boba Fett's palace that is heavily fortified? You had the character of Chrysanthemum, who was wasted, completely wasted. I thought he was going to be like this big badass coming in and real tearing the people apart. And I mean, he did rip a guy's arm off, you know what I mean? But okay, that was in the
Mm-hmm.
club, but that's the only kind of thing he did. I think that was that, ferocious and, or, that vicious. But yeah, I mean, I think this finale is. I think it's I think it's just okay because I think the moments that do really work, that are good moments, do really are really I think put it ahead. I don't think it's the weakest of the series. I think some of the beginning episodes, like 2 or 3, were probably weaker.
Yeah.
Were weaker for me. Yeah, I overall I would give this series like a low stream it because I think it's called the Book of Boba Fett, like you mentioned, but it gets like the last 3 episodes are the best, but they don't even have little to no Boba Fett in it. So you didn't really do a good job. And I felt like they had an idea of like Boba Fett as a crime lord. Okay, that sounds cool. That's a cool idea.
Right.
And people really like this Ming Na Wing character. She's showing up as Finnick, and she's really
Yeah.
great, and people love her.
She's becoming a fan favorite. How do we connect this with their overall story?
And that's when they were in the writing
Yeah.
room and they were trying to come up with ideas, and they had no hell idea how they were going to work this out.
No.
And that's what you kind of see on screen, I think. So yeah, I would just give it a low stream for me. What about you?
I can't. It is saved if you like The Mandalorian. I will say I'll give it a low stream it, because then you'll only have to watch the 5 and 6, and then the part where Gubu and
Grogu.
whatever Grubu Grenadine, whatever his name is, Baby Yoda.
Yeah,
Whenever
baby. Yeah.
Baby Yoda and Mando meet up, and it's the heartwarming moment when they do, and then when they leave, you can do that. Or probably just watch those 2 episodes, 5 and 6, and then go to YouTube and find the clips of where they after that, and then you can watch season 3. The rest of this you can skip. Now that I've seen the entire story, aside from the Marshall character from Justified, aside from the few characters here and there and the few moments, there's not really much really here for Star Wars fans, and even hardcore Star Wars fans, I think, would have a lot of issue with the series as general. Just what was the point? It felt like three different ideas that were fighting. They wanted to make a connection with the Mandalorian, but they also wanted to tell like this Tatooine politics, old school gangster story. But they also wanted Boba Fett in there somehow, and bounty hunters and Fennec, and you're like, this doesn't fit in any one of these. They also want to tell a Grubu story, kind of, sort of, at the same time, and they didn't. It doesn't fit organically in here. It doesn't at all gel, and it's just so all over the place and such a mess that I can't recommend it, honestly. Aside from the really hardcore people who want a preview for the Mandalorian season 3, I'm honestly just gonna say this is a skip.
Wow, skipping. Okay. Not gonna argue with you. I'm not gonna argue with you. I think it's a horrible series.
No,
No, I don't think
that's
it's
why I didn't
horrible.
say burn it or hate it. I just said, it's not really, unless you're gonna watch certain parts of it, it's not really worth it.
Yeah. I don't think it's that. I just think it's got some kind of moments. Just feels like I don't know if they are gonna do a season 2. Seems like I don't know. The ending is like what they're saying. It's like I guess not. I don't know. But if they do, I think you can really improve upon some things and then come back with some better material. I think possibly.